أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله تعالى على حبيبه محمد وآله وسلم. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to our segment on Surah Al-Anfal. Inshallah, today we will cover the sixth Ruku of Surah Al-Anfal, verses 45 to 48. The previous Ruku ended on the note that according to Allah's law, when in battle, the one who is destined to perish, perishes, and the one who is destined to live, lives. This is all part of Allah's plan, and at the end, all matters are returned to Allah. May Allah grant us the ability to understand the true meanings of the Quran by the grace of His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ameen. With this dua, let's begin the sixth ruku of Surah Al-Anfal. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, verse 45. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, iza laqitum fi'atan fasbutu wazkurullaha kasiran la'allakum tuflihun. O you who believe, when you encounter a group, stand firm and remember Allah much, that you may be successful. In this verse, Allah is telling the people of faith that when they face their opponents of truth in the battlefield, they should trust in Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When fighting the enemy, have courage and continue to fight until the objectives of that fight are achieved, keeping the remembrance of Allah in their minds. The fight should be for the sake of Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and not for the sake of spoils or gains. This is the path to success. This is also mentioned in Surah Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, verse 4, where it says, "So when you meet those who disbelieve, strike the necks until when you have subdued them, then secure the bond, and either favor afterwards or ransom until the war lays down its burdens. That is for you. And if Allah had willed, He could have taken vengeance upon them, but to test some of you by means of others. And those who are killed in the cause of Allah, never will He waste their deeds." The battlefield is also inside us. We fight with ourselves when we don't want to accept the truth or accept the fact that whatever is happening to us is because of our own doing. So we need to keep fighting and telling ourselves until we are willing to accept. Let's go on to verse 46. Wa ati'u Allaha wa rasulahu wa la tanaza'u fatafshalu wa tazhaba rihukum wasbiru. Inna Allaha ma'as sabirin. And obey Allah and His Messenger, and do not dispute, lest you lose courage and depart your strength, and persevere. Indeed, Allah is with those who persevere. When fighting in the battlefield, the most important thing against the enemy is to be united, coordinated, and connected. Everyone should be on the same page. If there is a dispute, then confusion arises and people start losing courage, and the unit becomes weak. The way of the believers is that in case of any mutual dispute, they return it to Allah and His beloved Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This means that it gets redirected to care of Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They are able to distinguish if the dispute is for their own ego or for the truth, and quickly redirect themselves towards the truth. This is also mentioned in Surah An-Nisa, verse 59, where it says, "O you who believe, obey Allah and obey the Messenger, and those in authority among you. And if you disagree over anything, refer it to Allah and the Messenger, if you should believe in Allah and the last day. That is the best and best in result." The second most important thing when dealing with an enemy is perseverance. It means facing the situation with courage and enduring the difficulties that come until the end, not giving up in the fight for truth. Allah is with those who persevere. Allah is not with those who don't fix their problems and remain in conflicts, mutual quarrels, and divisions with each other. We should ask ourselves, how many times have we been in such situations? Do we persevere or do we give up? Let's go on to verse 47. وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ خَرَجُوا مِنْ دِيَارِهِمْ بَطَرًا وَرِئَاءَ النَّاسِ وَيَصُدُّونَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ Wallahu bima yamaluna muhit. And do not be like those who came forth from their homes boastfully and showing off to people and avert from the way of Allah. And Allah is encompassing of what they do. Bataran means boastfully, refers to showing arrogance due to wealth and power. This verse relates to the previous one. Allah is saying to the people of faith to not be like those who fight just to show off. They only make an effort and show their face so people can praise them. Their purpose is not genuine. They do it for the sake of worldly gain. They want fame, they want status, they want power. They become a distraction for others when they show off, luring others to become like them. This behavior becomes a hindrance, not only for them, but for others from the path of Allah. They forget that Allah is aware of their intentions, and they can't hide their true motives from Him. How many people do we see today that are like this? We need to ask ourselves, are we like this also? As mentioned in Surah Al-Qasas, verse 58, it says, "And how many a city have we destroyed that was insolent in its living? And those are their dwellings, which have not been inhabited after them except briefly. And it is we who were the inheritors." Let's go on to verse 48. وَإِذْ زَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُمْ وَقَالَ لا غالب لكم اليوم من الناس وإني جار لكم فلما تراءت فئتان نكص على عقبيه وقال إني بريء منكم إني أرى ما لا ترون إني أخاف الله والله شديد العقاب. And when made fair seeming to them, the Satan, their deeds, and he said, "No one can overcome you today from among the people, and indeed, I am a neighbor for you." But when came in sight the two forces, he turned away on his heels and said, "Indeed, I am free of you. Indeed, I see what you do not see. Indeed, I fear Allah, and Allah is severe in penalty." Jarun means neighbor, someone next to you or very near you. Showing off one's power, strength, and resources is not the way of the believers. It is the way of Shaitan. He lures them by glorifying their deeds so they can continue in their transgression towards the path to hell. This is also mentioned in Surah Al-Nahl, verse 63, where it says, "By Allah, we did certainly send to nations before you, but Satan made their deeds attractive to them. And he is their ally today, and they will have a painful punishment." Shaitan's purpose here on earth is to keep people away from Allah's mercy. He keeps them bound in the web of their desires and the delusion of the colorful world. Through deception, he keeps people away from seeking the truth. Surah Al-Isra, verse 64, mentions the reality of Shaitan's deception. It says, "And incite whoever you can among them with your voice, and assault them with your horses and foot soldiers, and become a partner in their wealth and their children, and promise them. But Satan does not promise them except delusion. And the time will come when all the veils will be removed from the eyes, and the truth will be fully revealed, and they will be accountable for their deeds." As stated in Surah Ibrahim, verse 22, where it says, "And Satan will say when the matter has been concluded, 'Indeed, Allah had promised you the promise of truth, and I promised you, but I betrayed you. And I had no authority over you, except that I invited you, and you responded to me. So do not blame me, but blame yourselves. I cannot be called to your aid, nor can you be called to my aid. Indeed, I deny your association of me before. Indeed, for the wrongdoers is a painful punishment." This concludes our segment on Ruku 6 of Surah Al-Anfal. Let's briefly go over what we discussed. When the people of faith enter the battlefield, they fight bravely, trusting in Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and continue to fight until the objectives are achieved, keeping the remembrance of Allah in their minds. The people of faith refer all disputes that arise between them to the care of Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so they can stay united in their cause, and they persevere until the end. The aim of a righteous battle is not to be distracted by shaitan and acquire gains for the self and this world, but to please Allah and His beloved Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so they can have success in the hereafter and not just this life. May Allah grant us the ability to understand the Holy Quran and its true meanings in light of the life and guidance of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ameen. Thank you for joining us for this segment. Until next time. Sadaqallahul Aliyyul Azim. Allah speaks the truth, the exalted, the great. Sallallahu ta'ala ala habibihi Muhammadin wa alihi wasallam.